Before you even leave your house, before the boarding pass is scanned or your bag touches the carousel, one decision quietly determines whether your trip feels smooth or miserable. It's not the weather, the delay, or even the airline. It's the seat. Hello, my favorite travelers, and welcome back to the channel. Come on in, stow your bags, and let's get comfortable. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Mila. I've been a flight attendant for over 15 years, flying both domestic and international routes for a major US airline, and I've spent most of my adult life at 35,000 feet. That means I've seen everything: the excitement, the chaos, the frustration, and especially the quiet discomfort that shows up when people try to settle into today's shrinking economy cabins. Today, I'm speaking directly to a very specific group of travelers. If you're over 60, if you consider yourself a senior traveler, or even if you're someone who simply values your knees, your back, and your circulation, this conversation is for you. Airplane seats have changed. The pitch, the distance between your seat and the one in front of you, has been reduced. The cushioning is thinner. What feels mildly annoying to a 20-year-old can become genuinely painful for an older body. I see it on almost every flight. I see the wince when someone stands up after 4 hours. I see the careful maneuvering to climb over a sleeping passenger just to reach the aisle. I see how something as small as seat placement can drain energy before a trip even begins. But here's the good news. There are real industry secrets, strategies most travelers never hear about that can dramatically improve where and how you sit, often without paying those expensive upgrade fees. There's one specific seat strategy I recommend to my own parents, and today I'm going to share it with you. We're going to talk about the hidden accessibility inventory airlines don't show online, the simple button that transforms an aisle seat, the rows you should avoid completely, and the psychological approach that makes gate agents far more willing to help you. Let's start with the biggest secret, something I call the accessibility inventory hack. When most people look at an airline seat map online, they assume what they see is the full picture. Gray seats are taken, blue seats cost extra, and whatever scraps remain must be all that's left. That assumption is wrong. Airlines deliberately block certain aisle and bulkhead seats, especially near the front of the economy cabin, for passengers with mobility or accessibility needs. These seats appear unavailable online, sometimes until 24 hours before departure, and sometimes only to agents who can manually assign them. Here's the key point. You do not need a wheelchair to qualify. If you're a senior traveler with arthritis, stiff knees, circulation issues, or a medical reason to stay close to the restroom, you are entitled to these accommodations. You are not taking something away from someone else. You're using the system as it was designed. The trick is knowing how to ask. If the seat map only shows bad options, book the flight without selecting a seat. Then call the airline's accessibility or special assistance desk directly. Tell them clearly that you are a senior traveler with mobility limitations and that you need an aisle or bulkhead seat to move comfortably and safely. In many cases, that agent can unlock seats that appeared impossible to book online, sometimes moving a passenger from the back of the plane to the front of economy with a single manual override. That one phone call can change your entire travel experience. And once you understand that the seat map doesn't tell the whole truth, you start flying with a completely different level of confidence. Once you realize that not every good seat is visible online, the next step is knowing how to physically make that seat work for your body once you're on board. This brings us to one of the most overlooked tricks in the cabin, the aisle armrest secret. I'm genuinely surprised how many frequent flyers don't know this, because for older travelers, it can completely change how boarding and deplaning feel. Most people assume the aisle armrest is fixed, locked down like a barrier you just have to live with. The window armrest lifts, the middle armrest lift, but the aisle one feels permanent. It isn't. Every aisle armrest is designed to lift, but the release is hidden. Reach underneath near the hinge where the armrest meets the seat back. Feel around carefully, and you'll find a small button or metal lever tucked into the fabric or plastic. Press it and lift. The armrest swings up smoothly. This matters for two big reasons. First, it makes sitting down and standing up far easier. Instead of twisting your spine or lowering yourself straight down, you can step sideways into the seat. Second, once you're in the air, lifting that armrest gives you extra hip space. It allows you to angle your legs slightly into the aisle when service isn't happening, which reduces pressure on your lower back and hips. That small adjustment can make a narrow seat feel noticeably more forgiving. Now let's talk about a trap that catches far too many senior travelers: basic economy. I need to be direct here, almost protective. Basic economy tickets look appealing because they're cheaper, but for anyone over 60, they are often a mistake. When you book basic economy, you're essentially telling the airline that seat placement doesn't matter to you. The system then assigns what's known internally as distressed inventory, the seats most passengers actively avoid. That usually means middle seats, seats that don't recline, seats at the very back, or seats separated from your travel companion. I've watched couples in their 70s discover at the gate that they've been split up for an international flight, simply because the algorithm filled seats without regard for comfort or proximity. Once the flight is full, there's very little the crew can do to fix it. Saving a small amount of money up front can cost you hours of discomfort, anxiety, and physical strain. Think of the extra cost for main cabin seating as part of your health budget for the trip. It guarantees an aisle, ensures you sit together, and gives you control over where you'll be for the next several hours. Seat location also plays a role in how your body experiences the flight itself. If turbulence makes you anxious or motion sickness affects you more than it used to, seat placement can help. The smoothest ride is over the wing, where the plane's center of gravity is located. Rows, roughly 10 through 20 on most narrow-body aircraft, move less during bumps. The trade-off is a limited view, but for aisle seat travelers, stability matters far more than scenery. Avoid the very back of the plane if you can. It's louder, bumpier, closer to the lavatories, and subject to constant foot traffic and noise. After several hours, that environment wears on anyone, but especially on older travelers. Another common misconception is the exit row. Many people book it for legroom without considering the downsides. Exit row seats often have solid armrests that reduce hip space, making the seat feel tighter despite extra knee room. They're also colder because exit doors are less insulated. Cold air can aggravate arthritis and joint pain, and legally, anyone seated there must be able to lift and maneuver a heavy door in an emergency. If a crew member believes you can't safely do that, you may be reassigned at the last minute, sometimes to a much worse seat. Choosing the right seat isn't about luxury. It's about understanding how your body interacts with the cabin environment. And once you start seeing seat selection as a form of self-care, every decision becomes clearer. Once you understand which seats to avoid and why, the next layer is using better tools than the airline's own website to make smarter choices before you ever check in. This is where many travelers unknowingly set themselves up for disappointment. Airline seat maps are simplified for sales, not comfort. They don't show you where the windows actually align, where the walls curve inward, or where equipment boxes steal legroom. That's why relying on the airline map alone can leave you staring at a blank wall for 4 hours, wondering where the window you paid for went. This is why I strongly recommend using an external seat map tool like Airline. Unlike older platforms that haven't kept up with modern aircraft layouts, Airline provides accurate, aircraft-specific diagrams that show window placement, seat pitch differences, and oddities like missing underseat space. For seniors, this matters more than people realize. Feeling boxed in or claustrophobic can raise anxiety, increase blood pressure, and make a long flight feel endless. Knowing in advance whether your window seat actually has a window at eye level is a small detail that makes a big difference. Now let's talk about a strategy couples can use to dramatically improve comfort without paying for upgrades: the empty middle seat gamble. If you're traveling with a partner, consider booking the window and aisle seats in the same row, leaving the middle seat empty. Middle seats are the last to sell, and many passengers will avoid choosing one between two strangers if other options exist. When it works, you gain extra space and flexibility. And if someone does end up assigned to that middle seat, you're still in control. That passenger almost always prefers the aisle or window, and a simple offer to switch allows you to sit together without conflict. You lose nothing by trying, and you stand to gain a much more comfortable row. There's also a specific decision many tall seniors struggle with: choosing between bulkhead seats and standard aisle seats. Bulkhead seats prevent anyone from reclining into you, which protects your knees and makes standing easier. However, they force all belongings into overhead bins during takeoff and landing, which can be frustrating if you need medication, glasses, or water close by. They also don't allow you to stretch your feet forward because of the wall. If knee pain is your primary issue, bulkhead seats are excellent. If ankle and foot movement matter more, a standard aisle seat may actually feel better. At this stage, seat selection stops being about preference and starts becoming about strategy. You're not just choosing a place to sit, you're choosing how your body will feel when you stand up at the end of the flight. Once you've picked your ideal seat, the next layer of strategy is what I call the social engineering trick at the gate. Many seniors assume that once they've booked a seat, that's it. They have no leverage. That's not true. Gate agents have tools and discretion that the public rarely knows about, and a polite, well-timed request can change your flight experience dramatically. The key is to approach at the right moment, when the rush has died down, not during boarding chaos. Smile, use their name, and give a clear, concise reason for your request. For example, "Hi Jane, I know the flight is full and you're busy, but I'm a senior traveler in a middle seat. I'm a bit concerned about circulation, and if an aisle seat opens up, could you please keep me in mind?" Notice the phrasing. It's respectful, non-demanding, and emphasizes a medical need. 9 times out of 10, the agent will remember you, and if a no-show or reassignment occurs, you could be moved to a far better seat. Southwest Airlines presents a special case with its open seating. For seniors, the unpredictability of unassigned seats can be stressful. The solution is early bird check-in. Pay the small fee to be automatically checked in 36 hours before departure. This guarantees a spot in an early boarding group, letting you secure a front aisle seat without competing against younger travelers. And if you have mobility needs, remember the pre-boarding option. Request the blue sleeve at the desk, board first, and pick the first row aisle seat. Physical comfort doesn't stop at seat location. In 2026, economy seats are intentionally firm to reduce weight and maximize efficiency. Seniors often underestimate how much pressure this puts on tailbones, sciatic nerves, and hips. My top recommendation: bring an inflatable seat cushion. They fold to the size of a wallet and inflate once you're seated, providing a soft layer that relieves pressure immediately. Combined with strategic seat selection, this small accessory transforms the flight experience from a painful ordeal to manageable comfort. Lastly, consider movement and circulation. Blood clots are a real concern on flights over 4 hours. The aisle seat is not just a convenience, it's a medical necessity. By sitting on the aisle, you can stand, stretch, and walk freely without disturbing neighbors. My rule: every 90 minutes, stand, march in place, or walk to the galley. Even small movements prevent blood pooling and reduce the risk of deep vein thrombosis. Couples traveling together should consider the double aisle approach. Each person takes an aisle seat across from each other. You maintain social connection while maximizing personal space and mobility. This strategy preserves both comfort and health, ensuring your flight starts and ends positively. Now that we've tackled seat selection and personal comfort, let's talk about tools and technology that can make or break your flight experience. One of the most overlooked resources is Airline, a next-level seating map tool. Forget Seat Guru. It's outdated and often inaccurate. Airline provides precise, two-scale maps showing the actual placement of windows relative to each row. For seniors who may get claustrophobic, this is a game changer. Booking a window seat only to find a blank wall in front of you is frustrating, but with Airline, you know exactly where the view will be. It's about confidence and control over your environment, which reduces stress significantly before you even board. Another strategy is the empty middle seat gamble. For couples or friends traveling together, this is a subtle but highly effective tactic. Book an aisle and a window seat in the same row, leaving the middle seat open. Statistically, the middle seat is the last to sell. If the flight isn't full, you'll likely enjoy the row to yourselves. And if someone does end up in the middle, you have the power to politely negotiate a swap. Say, "Would you mind taking the aisle so my companion and I can sit together?" Most passengers will agree, giving you additional space without paying for an upgrade. It's a simple social maneuver with outsized benefits, especially on long-haul flights where comfort is key. For tall seniors or those with long legs, the bulkhead row requires careful consideration. It's the first row in the economy cabin facing a wall or curtain. The pros are clear: no reclining seats in front of you, freedom to stand up at any time, and easy access for stretching. The cons: no under-seat storage during takeoff and landing, and your legs can feel cramped if you prefer to stretch your feet out. For seniors with stiff knees, the bulkhead may be ideal. For those who want footroom, a standard aisle seat might be better. It's all about balancing knee comfort versus foot space. Finally, we have social engineering at the gate for last-minute seat upgrades. If you're stuck in a middle seat, don't just sit and wait. Approach the gate agent after the boarding rush, use their name, and give a clear medical reason for a reassignment, emphasizing circulation or mobility needs. Be polite, non-demanding, and frame it as a no-pressure request. Gate agents deal with constant stress. A kind, reasonable senior traveler often becomes their pet project. If a premium aisle seat or a favorable reassignment becomes available, you'll be first in line to receive it. This strategy leverages human empathy, turning kindness into practical advantage, and can transform what would have been an uncomfortable flight into a smooth, dignified experience. Let's finish strong with a few final strategies that elevate your travel experience and ensure you fly with dignity, comfort, and control. One issue that senior travelers often overlook is the physical comfort of the economy seat itself. Seats in 2026 are lightweight and firm, designed for efficiency rather than luxury. For seniors, this can lead to discomfort or even pain during long flights. The solution is simple: bring a compact inflatable seat cushion. These fold up to wallet size, inflate in seconds, and provide significant relief for your tailbone and lower back. For anyone with sciatica or joint pain, this small investment transforms your flight. Don't rely on airline blankets. They are too thin to provide meaningful support. Your comfort is non-negotiable. Next, we need to consider circulation and deep vein thrombosis, DVT, a serious risk on flights longer than 4 hours. Choosing the right seat and moving frequently is critical. The aisle seat is the medical winner for seniors. It allows you to get up without disturbing others, walk to the galley, or perform leg exercises in place. My personal rule for senior passengers: every 90 minutes, stand up, stretch, and walk a few steps. Even simple calf raises while seated help keep blood flowing and reduce the risk of clots. Freedom to move equals safety, and the aisle provides that freedom. For couples, the double aisle trick is revolutionary. If you travel with a spouse, consider booking 2 aisle seats across from each other rather than sitting side by side. This approach gives both travelers mobility freedom while maintaining the ability to chat and pass items. My parents swear by this method. It preserved their comfort, reduced conflict over cramped space, and made long flights enjoyable again. You can see each other, interact easily, but no one feels trapped. It's a small adjustment with huge psychological and physical benefits. Lastly, let's talk about the power of the gate interaction. Gate agents are human and handle constant stress, often managing hundreds of passengers. Approach them politely with a clear explanation of your needs. Use phrases like, "I'm a senior traveler with mobility concerns. If an aisle seat becomes available, would you kindly keep me in mind?" This communicates respect, provides a medical justification, and allows the agent to assist you proactively. Kindness and clarity are your currency. It can unlock better seating, smoother boarding, and a less stressful journey. In conclusion, flying as a senior doesn't have to be a struggle. Using these insider strategies, accessing blocked seats through accessibility requests, mastering aisle armrest releases, avoiding basic economy pitfalls, leveraging tools like Airlopa, employing social maneuvers at the gate, using seat cushions, staying mobile, and applying the double aisle trick ensures that your flight is safe, comfortable, and dignified. You deserve to travel with confidence, maintain your mobility, and arrive at your destination energized rather than exhausted. Every tip here has been tested in real flights and comes from years of experience observing, assisting, and advocating for travelers like you. With these tools in hand, the skies belong to you as much as they do to anyone else. Travel smart, fly safe, and make every journey a pleasure, not a test of endurance.